I don't know how to press that
never heard before. Electric TV Radio, the podcast for radio.
Mesdemoiselles, mesdames et messieurs,
bonsoir.
Je m'appelle comment et ce soir je suis
UK now.
Sur Electric TV Radio.
Electric TV Radio.
The Jackpot Syndrome.
Electric TV Radio.
Redefining broadcasting. Listen. All right, good morning and welcome to the Sports Buffet on the Legotet TV Radio. My name is Indafi Matthew. So you love to come in the Legotet on the sports. Wonderful time for Emmanuel Sebastian to be in the building. I mean, they stopped Arsenal in the track. If the season goes on like this, as Arsenal ends up not winning the title, Emmanuel Sebastian will say, we had a bad season, but we'll make sure it didn't happen for Arsenal, and we were the ones who backstabbed them. Well, it's funny anyway when their biggest rival is Manchester United, and to see the Liverpool help the Manchester team to again win the title. And there's one team that has stopped Liverpool from shining all through this period that the club have been around. It is Man City. I think that Liverpool will become the team that helped Manchester City to make progress and come back into the title race. It's a shameful thing, but then it is football. These things happen. I don't want to blame Liverpool. I rather put the blame on Granit Xhaka, because I think that when he tried to bully Trent Alexander-Arnold, who is loved by the Liverpool fan, that was when everything turned around. You're wearing that the Emirates, but that's a long story. That's a topic for another day. We got a lot to talk about today, this morning on the Sports Buffet. Before I go on and bring Emmanuel Sebastian on the microphone to take over the show, let me remind you of some of the transfer gist that are percolating around the world, because everybody's always asking, who are we looking at? Who's my club trying to sign? Well, let's look at this one for a minute. Aston Villa are interested in signing England midfielder Kalvin Phillips, 27 from Manchester City, who's not had it very good through the season because of injuries. But then Unai Emery thinks that that's a player that will be a solution to his game, especially the former Leeds man being a combative midfielder and also a ball-playing midfielder. Let's see if that will work. England defender Ben Chilwell, 26, who is a Chelsea player, is set to sign a new 4-year contract. Chelsea fans, what do you feel about that one? Lionel Messi's father and agent, Jorge, has met with Barcelona, but no transfer proposal was offered for the 35-year-old Paris St-Germain and Argentina forward. So we don't know what they're meeting on. Remember that Barcelona still owes Messi about 80 million. So maybe they're discussing that one. We can't just jump into a conclusion yet. Anything is possible. It could be also a return, but I mean, that wasn't discussed on the cards, and nobody alleged that or speculated that. So let's keep our fingers crossed and see. Germany winger Marco Reus, 33, will take a pay cut to sign a new deal at Borussia Dortmund. The older you go, the less money you earn for some players, but Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi is a different conversation entirely. The older they get, the more money they get paid. Yes, West Ham are monitoring Manchester United English defender Aaron, the one the Anambra and Imo people call Wan-Bissaka. Yes, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, 25, with a prospect of a summer move. So let's see if he will go to West Ham. They say he's the most difficult defender to get past, but then he doesn't have what Trent Alexander-Arnold have going forward. I mean, it's strange, ironical word that we live in, or oxymoronic word. Trent Alexander-Arnold is butchered and attacked and trolled for not being able to defend to save his life. And Wan-Bissaka is trolled and attacked for not being able to put in the perfect crosses and go forward the way Trent Alexander-Arnold to go forward. Well, Trent Alexander-Arnold would want everything that Wan-Bissaka have, and Wan-Bissaka would also want everything that Trent Alexander-Arnold have. That is life anyway. Alexander-Arnold would be praying that he can get it sorted out anyway, because pretty soon people might be saying he should be kicked out of Liverpool. And if he goes out of Liverpool, we don't know if he'll be in the top 10. But let's move on. Arsenal are open to selling England under 21 forward Folarin Balogun. That's one of the best news I've heard this morning. Okay, this summer, the 21-year-old is currently on loan at Reims, and he said he wants a guaranteed first-team performer place, and also doesn't want to go on the third loan again. That means that the boy his shoulder is getting bigger or higher than his head, and it needs to be sold. It's as simple as that. AC Milan are showing interest. Whether they will meet the amount of money that Arsenal is looking for, that's a different conversation. Well, clubs in France are also showing interest. Even Paris St-Germain have been mentioned in that conversation. Let's see how it goes. Arsenal and Chelsea are among clubs interested in a move for Wolfsburg, 25-year-old and German right back Rilul Baku. Let's hope that they go through for any of the two clubs. Chelsea hope to keep 23-year-old Portugal forward João Felix, who joined in on loan from Atletico de Madrid in January for next season. Now, what kind of decision is that? They're going to get a new coach at the end of the season. Is this a conversation that is being had with the prospective coach that is coming in, or this is the one that they just decide, oh, we're going to keep him, and whoever comes in should do what they want to do? I think that there's a bit of confusion in Chelsea. I'm sorry, Chelsea fans, I'm not trolling you guys, but this is just what I think. I hope I am wrong on this one. Newcastle United want to sign one for 21-year-old Brazilian forward João Pedro in the summer. How many João do we need in the Premier League to stay? Even though João Cancelo have left, we have João Moutinho, João this, João that, João that. Okay, one way to play in the Premier League is to put João in your name. Probably you will sign easily. Brighton are hopeful of agreeing a new contract with 18-year-old Republic of Ireland forward Ivan Ferguson, despite strong interest from Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur. Young man signed for Brighton because those two clubs will not give you starting places, so there is no need going to play for those two teams. You better stay at Brighton. Probably when you get to 25, you might decide to move. And then who wants to go to Tottenham Hotspur knowing fully well that you can never win anything? What's the difference between Tottenham Hotspur and Brighton? Well, Brighton are also interested in signing Arsenal 23-year-old English winger Reiss Nelson, whose contract expires at the end of the season, but on the condition that he doesn't sign a new contract and he comes in on free. Well, that is an incentive for Reiss Nelson to say he will not renew. Even though he says he's an Arsenal man true and true, the truth of the matter is, as a football player, you get to the age of 23 going to 25, you should know that you need regular playing time. He would never get it at Arsenal, that's for sure. Because the people ahead of him, they're not old, they're young, and they are way, way better. He does have this one moment of brightness or spark that he brings in. Well, but Brighton knows the heartbreak that this young man caused them, so they want to sign him. You know how it is, some clubs, their own way of scouting player is the kind of performance that the player put against them. Chelsea, that's how they signed Mo Salah and quite a lot of other players as well. Liverpool wants to sign Bristol City's English 19-year-old midfielder Alex Scott this summer, but West Ham and Wolves are also interested. Arsenal are monitoring Bayern Munich's 20-year-old Netherlands midfielder Ryan Gravenberch, okay, who is also a target for Manchester United. Leeds have been ordered to pay. This is the most ridiculous situation any club would find themselves. They've been ordered to pay £24.5 million to former French striker John Calvin Augustin, 25, after being found to have breached his contract. Now, the funny thing is, this player played only one game for Leeds on loan from, I think, RB Leipzig, and they paid 15.5 to Leipzig. Now they need to pay the player 24.5. Damn. Can somebody come and breach me and pay me this type of money, please? I need a breach, okay? Barcelona are ready to offer 19-year-old Spain defender Alejandro Balde a new contract, but Chelsea remain interested in signing him at the end of the season. Chelsea practically wants to sign everybody. Everybody they want to sign, but they can't sign a good coach. Signing all these people, who's the coach? Well, the question of the day, as far as I'm concerned, Co-stars, is it going to be a bridge too far for Pep Guardiola and his Erling Haaland-led Manchester City side? Can Inter Milan bend it over Benfica in Portugal? Give us your UCL quarterfinal thoughts as we go in on the show. This is the point where I hand it over to Emmanuel Sebastian, the brilliant one, the one that looks like a football player, a musician, a celebrity. Emmanuel Sebastian, there is no way in this world that you will not become a superstar because you've got everything, just the money is remaining, and you need to make it happen. Emmanuel Sebastian, it's your show now.
All right, good morning to you, and good morning to everyone, wherever you're listening to us from, via the app, via the website. So welcome again to another
YouTube, Instagram, everywhere.
Instagram, everywhere. Welcome again to another beautiful Tuesday edition of the Sport Buffet on Elegbete TV Radio. Well, quite a lot has been going on and quite a lot of talking points. But I mean, let's start off with this one. The show is kicking off proper. But quickly, before we go into the main talking point, you talked about Alexander Arnold. Let me just quickly, what you are Klopp. What would you do with a player like Arnold? Like this dilemma, he doesn't defend very well. I mean, it's obvious you see some of his lapses in terms of defending, but going forward, this guy is a beast. I mean, he's the kind of assist, his crosses. You talked about Super Eagles players not knowing how to pull crosses and all that, but if we have a player like Arnold who can cross the ball in Super Eagles, I mean that's by the way. But
You have to go there, Sha.
But I mean, what we do? I mean, we saw that game against Arsenal. Klopp came out to say he was playing more of an inverted midfielder because majority of that game, it's not the first time this season, but I think that game against Arsenal was where he's done it the most so far this season. Maybe because Liverpool dominated that second half, so they were more on the ball. That. Or you were Arnold, would you? He started his career as a midfielder, right back, but there have been so many calls to convert this boy to a midfielder. He's not the likes of Jim Carragher, Gary Neville and all that. He's not going to improve his defending. Why not make him a proper midfielder and all that? But you are Klopp. You've seen Arnold. What will you do? How would you solve this dilemma in Trent Alexander-Arnold before we go on to the main topic?
It's for me. It's not the Trent Alexander-Arnold issue. Is not a dilemma to deal with. Okay, as far as I'm concerned, when you use players, you play to their strength. That's what I know in coaching. When I was getting my badge, you play to the strength of the players that you have, and you build a team. The last 5 seasons, Trent Alexander-Arnold have not been bad. So all of a sudden, this season is being bad. The question is it just Trent Alexander-Arnold that is bad, or the entire team that is bad? So I was speaking to my big brother, by Paul Musa, over the weekend before the Arsenal game, and this is my explanation about Trent, because he was like, "Oh, Arsenal will capitalize on Trent Alexander-Arnold," and I said, "No." And I said, "No." I said, "No, that's not the problem. The thing is, one of the best players in Liverpool is Trent Alexander-Arnold. One of the things that I've also noticed with humans is we are losing our sense of objectivity. If 2 or 3 people just say one stupid thing, everybody bans on it. So let me give you a good example. The Pep Guardiola thinks too much. Nobody have a proof of it. Nobody have a tactical proof and evidence of it. And it's a common saying that anytime Man City loses, oh, Pep Guardiola is thinking too much. It's the crowd mentality. When Pep Guardiola wins, so he buys the result. But people forget that he gave people like Phil Foden, Rico Lewis a chance. So let's analyze Liverpool a bit. When they had Sadio Mane, now this is how Liverpool used to play. They press you so hard, make sure they wrestle the ball off you from the front. Yeah. And we've seen many times where a Sadio Mane, for instance, will lose the ball and he would press to go and take the ball and he will go score a goal. Now that fear always push the opposition, the teams that are playing against Liverpool, to defend to the side of Sadio Mane more, meaning that they leave some players short on the side that have Mo Salah and Trent Alexander-Arnold. But to buttress the point, to make it clearer, Trent Alexander-Arnold is suffering this season because there's a complete balance. The player who runs towards the side of the Sadio Mane side the most is Darwin Núñez, right? Yeah. And then the other player, Diego Jota, and the rest of them all out injured. So it doesn't really brings a lot of pressure and weight on the opposition. Now, if every time Liverpool have lost the ball, Mo Salah doesn't go back. Mo Salah have this messy thing about him that it feels like I have to conserve energy, I have to stroll, give me the ball, I know what to do. After all, they are always playing through me, so I don't need to go back and defend. And then they don't have a Wijnaldum anymore. Some of the players in the midfield don't defend to the wide side. So that becomes a problem for Trent Alexander-Arnold because he had to deal with 2 or 3 players at all times. He's not a Spider-Man, he's not a web, he can't stop everybody. Having said that, look at all the games that Liverpool have dominated this season. Trent Alexander-Arnold is in the top 3 best players on his team's side, right? Mm-hmm. So if you look at it carefully, it's exactly what happened to Hector Bellerin at Arsenal. Arsenal went to go spend £72 million, spread over 100 years to pay, that's me exaggerating anyway, on a player called Nicolas Yaya Sanogo Pepe. And they brought that player in, and immediately something happened. Every time he plays, he doesn't use the ball properly. I mean, sometimes, okay, it's a 50-50. Sometimes he just miraculously does some magic. but it's not a consistent thing. And whenever he loses the ball, he turns and faces either the assistant referee, the linesman there, or he's pretending like he's talking to the fans or like he's trying to lace his boot. And then the pressure goes on Bellerin or whoever is playing in that position, and Arsenal gets attacked. And everybody says, oh, this person cannot defend. It's not about this person not being able to defend. It's about the fact that you're not doubling up when it comes to retaining the ball that you just lost. That's the same problem that Trent Alexander has faced in a stretch of this season, because Mo Salah is not dropping, and nobody can even talk to him. He's the highest NI in the team. Nobody can really talk to him and check him out. So all of those is a problem that they have. Once they fix that side of the problem, I think that Trent Alexander will be very, very good, because he does add value in terms of going forward. And top 5, top 6 teams are actually known for their attacking more than their defending. You can't really speak more of Man City defending. Look at the games where they've come under immense pressure, they've conceded, and nobody blames anybody. So every time you look at the top team, their prowess is in the attacking. So my converse question on the Trent Alexander issue is, how much have Liverpool really attacked? Look at their number of goals for, apart from the Manchester United game, look at the number of goals for as against their number of goals conceded. And then again, a defense would only be under pressure if the midfield is leaking. That's the fact of the matter. Have Liverpool played up to 5 games with the same pair of midfielders this season? The answer is no. We're past the 30-game mark, and if you add European games and every other competition, Liverpool have played practically over 40 games this season. Have they, in any situation on a stretch of 5 games, played the same set of midfielder? The answer is no. So when you look at that and then you go to Arsenal have played Martin Odegaard, Granit Xhaka, and Thomas Partey over a course of 10-15 games. Man City have also done similar thing. The time that they didn't have consistency in their midfield and defense, they were dropping points like points were going out of fashion. Recently, in the last 6 games, they've been able to play the same players, even if they rotate them, not because they were injured. And you see the consistency in scoring about 39 goals and, putting all of that. So those are some of the factors you need to first consider before you judge Trent Alexander. Trent Alexander is a victim, is a casualty of war. It's like when you watch the movie Angel Has Fallen. Mike Bennett, who was the savior in the part 1, Olympus Has Fallen and London Has Fallen, became a victim, of an internal conspiracy, because if it is external conspiracy, it is easy. An internal conspiracy to kill the president so that the vice president will take over. But at the end of the day, it was vindicated. So I think that when you look at Liverpool properly, you will say the whole house, in the words of Chinua Achebe's book, things are falling apart and the centers cannot hold. So it's not just about Trent Alexander-Arnold, but the entire team not doing well, and he doesn't have the support cast that he normally would have. And then in this season, they are not attacking the way they used to attack, where his strength comes to the fore. So any defender, I don't care who you are. If you look at the Liverpool team this season, have Virgil van Dijk be as rock solid as he used to be? The answer is no. Why is nobody tearing into him? Are they afraid of him? Have Matip be as rock solid as he used to be? No. Even Alisson, has he be infallible as he used to be? The answer is no. So why just center on one guy and make him the victim, the fall guy, the way we do in the Nigerian national team? I think that it's a wrong call anyway. That's my position, because going back to your question, if I was Klopp, I would still play him. He's the best player. Yeah, I'll keep him there. He's my best player. No. I'll look for players that will show up that midfield properly and then give us the value. He would probably be doing what Zinchenko is doing. Everybody expects that Arteta will play in the midfield and then play Tierney. But look at what Arteta have done with him, and it's done very well. So I will do the same thing with him.
All right, brilliant analysis there. I think I agree pretty much everything you said about Trent. And let's move on now on the show. Let's take it home now to Nigerian players, Nigerian footballers, and let me read this one quickly. A quick transfer rumor I saw this morning while I was making my way down to the studio. Florentino Perez is considering a 50 million euros offer for Samuel Chukwueze this summer. That's according to Radio Marca. I mean, when I say this, you know where I'm heading to. Of course, Chukwueze had a fantastic game.
He's always played well against Real Madrid.
He's always doing that. But I mean, this past weekend, he had a fantastic game, 2 brilliant goals.
Yeah.
And Villarreal won that game by 3 goals to 2. I mean, that first goal, the way the body movement, the way, was it natural? I think it was natural. I can't remember. I'm not too sure now. The defender, he side-footed before he finished his left foot. Then the second goal, I mean, typical Arjen Robben stuff.
Yeah.
In PlayStation, we call that R2. R2 kind of go where you call the ball and he beats the goalkeeper. Fantastic game for Chukwueze. And that game against Guinea-Bissau came to mind again. How we react. How Nigerian football fans react. I mean, you saw him in Abuja. He couldn't do this in Abuja, this and that, stuff like that. But Samuel Chukwueze, what would you say has been a turning point this season? He has 6 goals and 5 assists in the La Liga so far this season. This is excluding the goals he scored in the Copa del Rey.
In our competition is 14, 15 goals.
14, 15. His goal contribution
27
or thereabouts. So he's having his best individual season. What has been the turning point for Chukwueze? Is it the manager? I mean, he played under Unai Emery seasons ago, and he didn't have his best season. Emery, credit to him, he's doing so well with Aston Villa at the moment. But what has been the turning point for Samuel Chukwueze so far this season?
Okay, before I answer that question, those of you who are saying that Emmanuel A-Team is talking to himself, he's actually not talking to himself. I'm hearing him on the headphone. I'm sure because on Instagram the system is not connected to the phone, so you can't hear him that much. So you might as well just go to the YouTube channel and you hear him a whole lot louder and clearer because the sound is connected. The sound feed is connected there. Now, Emmanuel, to your question, I look at Chukwueze, and funny enough, I asked him this question before the match against Guinea. And because I was in Abuja, for the Guinea-Bissau game, I'm going to say this clearly, like very, very clearly. Under Unai Emery, this guy suffered with a lot of injuries and surgeries, just the same way like and the same way like Kelechi Iheanacho. This is the first time where he's not had to deal with any surgery, any operation, and all that. And then he plays in a team that he's been with for 5 years now or so.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So he plays with a team that he trains with every day. You come to the national team, first of all, the facility is not good. Let's not deceive ourselves. Secondly, the team is divided in groups. The foreign-born players are on one group. The Igbo players are on another group. How do I put it now? The northern bloc are on their own group. So it's a mutilated team, right? It's not really a cohesive unit. And in the last 18 months, I played under 3 different coaches, from Gennett Raw to Austin Iguavon, and then again to currently Pesero. Pesero have not been on the job long enough to harmonize the team. The best chance we have for team harmony and team cohesion was qualifying for the World Cup so that they can go to the pre-World Cup camp and then train together and understand themselves and then create a bond. But that didn't happen. So anybody who's going to judge Chukwueze on that, I'm not saying he played well, but let's go back again. Take the Real Madrid game and bring the Guinea-Bissau game and just oppose them together side by side. You will notice that everything that Chukwueze did in the Real Madrid game, he did in the game against Guinea-Bissau. The problem was that the things he did against Real Madrid that worked, he did exactly that against Guinea-Bissau. They didn't work. Doesn't mean he didn't do them. Just as sometimes, probably, say the game of football is a game of magic. So if the grass is 1 inch taller and you're used to whipping a ball in on a grass that is, let's say for instance, 0.1 centimeter, and then you go and play in a field that is now 0.5 centimeter, you will still reflex memory, right? Muscle memory. You will still whip the ball with your 0.1 dimension. And when you whip that ball, that simple 0.4 margin that is added on it on the surface might just make the difference, might just make you not to be able to deliver precise precision. I'm not holding brief for them. You know that I could be very, very tough on the Super Eagles player. As a matter of fact, I am considered as the guy who is a hater of Super Eagles player, both from the class of 94 up on this set. But there are times when you look at the team and you say to yourself, all things being equal, I understand the crisis that is here. I understand the problem that is here. And I'm not going to blindly, knowing all these things, still attack the player. So I don't think that Chukwueze did anything bad. What did he do against Real Madrid? He got the ball, he dazzled to the wide side, and then he cut back what Mahrez would do, and then bent the ball. The ball went in. First off, in that game, the Real Madrid defense were sort of asleep. How many people have scored 3 goals against Madrid recently? Not too many people. And then the Guinea game again. The Guinea in this regard is like Villarreal. When a small team plays against a big team, is a tough ask. Saudi Arabia beat Lionel Messi led Argentina. Morocco beat everybody but France. and they could still have taken them to the cleaners. They beat Spain, they beat Portugal. So it's not necessarily because the players are bad, but in the battle of the underdog versus the Goliath, the David versus Goliath, David always come a million times prepared, because this is a moment that would announce them. If Chukwueze had gone into that game and they had lost, for instance, nobody will be talking about the transfer rumor of Florentino Perez wanting to buy Chukwueze. And remember, every time they played against, he will go and play against Betis and the performance will not be this good. It is just like that. And when I play football, when I want to play against maybe the leading team, the top team, damn, we're going to die there. Because this is the game where, one, the big team have more fans, they have more media. You have you ever come to the studio and then you spend 1 hour discussing West Ham and Southampton and Leicester? We discuss them in passing, but when you want to talk about Pep Guardiola and Man City, you talk about the tactics, the players, the movement, the the statistics and all that. There is a reason why. It's the same TV that's showing you all of these games. It's the same media that is putting all of these stats in your front. Why are you talking about Man City more? Why are we talking about Real Madrid and Barcelona more? It's because those are big teams. The Barcelona crisis, other lower clubs are having the same financial crisis. How come the Barcelona crisis have been on top of the news always? Because they're big teams. So as a player, the preparation towards, we went to go and interview Ojo. Remember when I asked him the question, how do players prepare for friendly as against, proper competition? And you remember what he said to us that, listen, nobody's going to put his leg on the 50-50 ball in a friendly game. What's the big deal? But when it comes to competition, we're going there to die for it. So I think that's one of the things that comes up. And then again, there is also the natural knack to say, we're playing Guinea, come on, we'll beat them, right? And then you go into that game, and unfortunately, the Guineans are willing to die. But you're not really willing to die, because you're thinking, even if it is 2 minutes to go, we will score. That's not a problem. And that feeling always comes. Let's say Madrid had that feeling as well. And instead of trying to blame Chukwueze, let's say Villarreal as a group came prepared, like the way Guinea came prepared against Nigeria. And Real Madrid took the foot off the gas pedal, like, well, don't worry, we'll be there. We just beat Barcelona 4 goals to 1 or 5 goals to 1 in the Copa del Rey semifinals. Who the hell is this one? We will beat them. And then that happened. So it's just one of those things that happen in football. We can't take that one to judge. He's had a fantastic season. This is one of his best seasons, just the same way this is one of Osimhen's best seasons. But you always judge a football player in a team sport on the backdrop of the cast I explained with. Just as I explained Trent Alexander-Arnold's position, that I can't blame him alone in a team sport where the midfield is not doing well, the man in front of me, Mo Salah, is not tracking back, and then you want me to blame him. I can't blame him. I don't have the moral justification, because I'm going to come on this mic tomorrow and defend another fullback and say, oh, because this person is not doing this. So I can't blame him. The same with Samuel Chukwueze. All things, as the Latinos will say, ceteris paribus, all things are not equal when you play in the Super Eagles. Things are just haphazardly done. Imagine the team trained on Monday and on Tuesday in darkness, and you want to beat Guinea. Come on, we're joking now. We make ourselves a joke. We created enough excuse for the players not to do well. So I don't think that's a problem. When he go to Madrid, if Madrid firm up the bid, he definitely will go. I asked him a question. He responded in the most professional way. But I think that who turns out Madrid?
Nobody. Absolutely nobody. But for Chukwueze, that performance was record-breaking. According to statistics, he completed 7 dribbles in that game. He's known for that 1v1, but it's good to see him add some end products to those you're dribbling. Adding goals, adding assists. Most importantly, helping the team to get a victory, because Villarreal, I think they are fighting for the Champions League places now. I think they're 5th on the log. Those are 4 or 5 points below Real Sociedad, who are 4th in the La Liga standings. Chukwueze has won the Europa League. He has. He's played the European competitions for Villarreal, and he became the first player since they were final to score a brace against Real Madrid at the Santiago Bernabeu. So, the next angle I'm bringing this conversation, we talked about Real Madrid, but what next for Chukwueze? We are not saying off of this performance right now, but generally, what next for Sam? Because consistency has been the problem for him. Like you said, he might go to the next game and not put up this kind of performance. Injuries have been coming for him this season. He recovered from that long-term injury. But what next for Chukwueze and moving forward? So for me, I look at it from 2 angles. He should pray that injuries doesn't come and knock him out, because that one is something that it's not within my control, anybody's control. Sure. And then he finds a level of consistency. The reason why we talk about people like David Beckham, Marco Reus, Frank Ribery, Ian Robben, and the likes Ryan Giggs,
is because they did this thing over and over and over. It became something of a surprise when they show up in games and they don't do that. Whoa, how did this guy play this game for 90 minutes and didn't do that? Harry Kane, Erling Haaland, and the rest of them. The expectation, you have to match up the expectation. I think it's got a good season, and he explained it when I had that interview. You can go back and check it on the YouTube channel. When he said that, look, this is the first time where he's going through a season without the scale of injuries. And the thing about injuries, I've said it here before, when a player begins to get injured, a certain thing, the most important thing in football, two things are very, very important in a footballer's life: confidence and instinct. When you see that ball that comes in and you control it and make that deft body move, it's instinct. Because in pitching, you say you get half a body. Yeah. But when you're injured, too often, you don't want to put too much, because when you move, you feint to your right or feint to your left. What you're actually doing is you are putting the entire weight of your body on the knee.
And those kind of moves might just be that move that gives you the long-term injuries.
Good. So when you have gone under the knife, you've been treated, the analysts, the fans, everybody see you from the big screen. You see you from training, food, hospital, the preparation. My son's surgery was done recently. What people know is the day the surgery was done, or probably after the surgery. I talked about it. We've been preparing for this surgery for over a year, right? We've been adapting whether it will work, because it's a 50-50. When doctors start telling you that nothing is guaranteed, could cut something and it just will lose it. We could do something and bleed to death. That's why we did all the tests just to keep this thing at a certain level of surety that this boy will not die, right? And since he came out of the hospital, we treat him kind of different. Unconsciously, we just know that we treat him different from Bruno and Rookie, just because, not necessarily because of the cost of the surgery job, but just because of knowing the kind of thing. I mean, you see the picture, I'm sure. Yeah. The things that came out of that 3-year-old boy's brain, nose, and throat, and you say to yourself, scary. I'm not going to put this boy under pressure. I don't even want to see him cry. It's the same thing with a footballer. So you put yourself in that place where you're very cautious. You walk around eggshells. And then somewhere in the game, like in this Madrid game, and this could just be a turning point where you say, you know what, or die and I die. I came here to play this game. I'm not going to be playing half-heartedly. I'm going to play the game like my life depends on it. And that's exactly what Samuel Chukwueze have done. I'm thinking he should not put a lot of consistency to it. He should run on the opposition if he needs to, bend the ball the way he did it, arrow 2 as you call it, shoot, create assists, and then it becomes the new him. This is the new him, and people know that they can bank on you. Why do big clubs sign players? They sign players because I can bank on this guy. This guy can put up this performance. In 20 games, he'll do it 15 times. So 5 games are just off. But when your performance ratio is 5 in 20, then there's a problem. So I think if he finds consistency, he's shown us that he's got it on him. He's got the ability to do it. He's got the skill set, the talent to do it. Would he be able to put it on show, on display consistently? That's the difference. I remember when I was working in Brilla, where we auditioned some guys and they came in alongside Yinka Sports and the rest of them. And I told them that, listen, it's not about knowing sports. It's about the ability to be able to do this in every day, throw the fans with the way. I mean, if you want to be grandiloquent like Yinka Sports, that's your business. If you want to be layman, pigeon like me, that's your problem. But you got to be able to do it every single day. As a matter of fact, there's a phrase that I use for them. You've got to be able to work 8 days in a 7 days a week on a consistent basis. Your engine must have not just fuel and oil, but it must have turbo and it must have nitro. If you have all of that, then you're game. But if you don't have it, bro, you can't do it at the very highest level. You just be an amateur in the game. So that's the same thing with Chukwueze. Chukwueze needs to know that now, can I move up? Can I step it up a bit and go into the high performance level where when I don't play, my team suffers. So they need me like every single game. And when I come into the game, the opponent is afraid, and then my team is moving a notch higher because I'm in the field. I think if he's able to do that, Madrid is not too far from him.
All right, but one thing that is certain is Samuel Chukwueze actually did it on a big stage over the weekend. I mean, there's no bigger stage to do it than against Madrid at the Santiago Bernabeu, and to also secure 3 points for your team. So we have close to 10 games from now to the end of the season, and with a manager like Setien, I think we might just see Chukwueze score some couple of more goals and provide more assists from now to the end of the season. Now let's move away to our next talking point on the show, and this is a headline from The Guardian where the sports minister came out to say that
help me,
we
it's
need,
scamming me, they go where
we
I don't
need
know.
40 billion naira to fix the national stadium in Surrey. I mean, it's for me, it's so, should I say, it's quite sad I didn't watch Super Eagles play at the national stadium in Surrey. I watched the team in Teslim, I watched the team in Abuja, I watched the team in New York. But I mean,
All the small children that I'm
I
working
didn't
with.
watch the Super Eagles play at the national stadium in Surrey.
Okay.
I hope it could be revamped.
But you started your career from the national stadium.
Surrey, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, 40 billion naira to fix the stadium. I mean, he said a lot. He said, let me just quickly read a few of the quote. He said we've got about 400 million naira from Chief Kensington Adebutu and the ministry through the federal government.
That's Baba Ijebu for those who don't know.
Yeah, in the last 2 years, they spent about 200 million on the stadium. My budget to fix the stadium in a year is about 120 million naira. Yes, timelines were not met on the renovation, but those were the issues beyond my control. As of 3 years ago, the estimate to fix the stadium was 21 billion. But as of today, 21 billion naira. But as of today, the amount has risen. So that is where the 40 billion naira came into play. So, but he said, however, if you can get 21 billion naira, you will fix the stadium immediately. So he went on to say quite a lot of things were stolen from the stadium that added to the expenses and all that. Some cables were stolen, and some figures were quoted as well to replace those cables and all that. But in all of this, should you spend this amount of money renovating the stadium or channel it into? I mean, remember we are bidding to host the AFCON 2025 AFCON.
We have no business doing that bid.
ICAF inspectors have been in the country to check out some couple of stadiums and all that. So should we spend this amount of money renovating that stadium, or we should just channel it to somewhere else? Move on.
So I'm looking at countries that have made progress in football. We should have a paradigm shift. The Abuja National Stadium, for instance, this is the 20th anniversary of that stadium since it was commissioned for the All African Games Koja 2003. And I double dare anybody to come out with a statistics, a valid return on investment. The money went, at the time that stadium was built, it was the most expensive stadium in the world. And what was spent in that stadium, what we've continuously put into it, and how much we have gotten back, whether in terms of goodwill, whether in terms of finances, in terms of branding, whatever. Let's look at that first. Then the Lagos Stadium. When this minister first came into power, there was a consortium that came in and said, look, lease the stadium to us for 100 years. We're going to spend £2 billion and build something like the White Hart Lane Stadium and then put 2 5-star hotels. Now, the reason for the 5-star hotel, because a stadium on its own cannot really, in Nigeria right now, with the kind of league we run, cannot really provide the funding that you need to take care of it. But then they will put about 4 cinemas, okay, shopping mall, and then monetize the parking area and everything, and then put 2 5-star hotel on the 2 wings, one side to the Alaka side and then one side to the other side going to Joelega, but the back side. So where you have the NIS pitch and then this other beginning where you have the lawn tennis course and but the back, the very back of it. Okay. And they put up a bid, a pitch, they did presentation and all that. What was remaining? Then I'm not saying this is not, I'm not dragging this thing out of thin air. Okay, there are papers to back this up. What was remaining was for them to get the Attorney General minister to make a proper presentation to the Attorney General to get that irrevocable lease for 100 years. So they are not taking over the stadium. Nigeria still owns it. They will pay lease rent on it and all that. But then they will run their business in that place for the next 100 years. And I've heard a lot of Nigerians say it's a slave deal. When the last time that stadium was in use is about 2000. Between that time and now, nothing good has come out of the stadium. The stadium is dilapidating. The good thing again with the stadium is the stadium was built in 1972. The concrete integrity is still solid. So if they want to build on top of the stadium, they can still build on it and just realign the seating arrangement and redesign it, make it a full covered stadium. But the structure will still be there. The structure will still hold. It's just like redesigning it that would happen. But we were unable to get it. Now, for a country, I don't know, unless the economists, that the teachers that taught me basic economy in school were not good enough, or probably my brain is there's kerosene in my brain. For a country that borrows money to fund its budget, a country that borrows money to pay its workers, why do you want to spend 21 billion? Okay, why do you want to spend 21 billion to take care of a stadium that doesn't have a club? There's nowhere in the world where you build a stadium that doesn't have a club. When London built a stadium, the London Stadium for the London Olympic, 2012 Olympic, they quickly realized the stupidity behind it, because you cannot have the London Stadium and also have Wembley, both of them in London. What did they do? They quickly moved for West Ham to rent it. And now West Ham wants to buy it and own it as their own property and redesign it. That's the way it works. So look at Lagos, for instance. There is not a single club that can own a 40 billion naira stadium. Not even the Sporting Lagos. Yes, say whatever you want to say. The man is a billionaire. He done this, he done that. It will not work. And if all the clubs come together, even the whole College MS facility at Ikene for what's it called, Remo Stars and Beyond Limit, is not up to 41 billion. So what sense does it make? The greatest sense is to look for investors that will come in and invest in it, and not the Baba Ijebu money. As far as I'm concerned, the Minister of Sports, in my own opinion, I might be wrong, his intention might be good. So I'm not going to sit here and say the minister's intentions are bad. His intention might be good, but it's gone in such a way that it now looks like they just fleece Adebutu's money and nothing is coming out of it, because there is no way the money that was quoted, 400 million, 500 million, 100, 1 billion will not fix that stadium. It will not even take care of the grass and the subsequent maintenance. So there is nothing there that makes sense to me. And then to not say a government that is leaving office in the next couple of days, I agree that it was the former chief of staff of Jagaban, meaning that there is a lobby there going on. Amokachi wants to be the next sports minister. Oh God, as much as I love Amokachi in his playing days, I just look at Amokachi and I said, this guy is sports minister of Nigeria. That we are done for. Right, so Amokachi wants to be the next sports minister. He's lobbying madly. I hope that maybe I'm thinking that Solidarity thinks that with the next government, because of his relationship with the president-elect, they might still keep him there. I mean, if you're my chief of staff, it means that we're very, very close. It might keep him there to continue as a sports minister, but that's a long shot. Okay, that's a long shot. And I also agree that in Nigeria, people don't really take the sports ministry as a serious office. So they may have allocated petroleum ministry, economic finance ministry, or foreign affairs, all the real portfolio, and then this one that is the Hasboy portfolio, they'll just leave it there and say, okay, let's leave it there for Solidarity. But hey, what is his scorecard preceding the next government? As Solidarity really run the affairs of Nigerian sports well, the Tigers qualified for the World Cup and they didn't go because they couldn't raise the fund. Our national teams have been doing worse. They can't even go to any competition. So I don't even want to believe that we're going to come. I didn't think that we will wake up one day and say somebody is better than, Solomon Dalong is better than somebody. But exactly what it is right now, Solomon Dalong is better than this man. So if you look at all of that, why did you not go back to that consortium and say, listen, okay, we're going to give you the stadium, maybe not for 100 years, maybe for 50 years, maybe for 60 years, maybe for 80 years, whatever it is. But we want to renegotiate terms. We want this, we want that. And that's not happening. So why would in Nigeria, it's like saying, as we are now, I can't feed my children. And then I go to my younger sister and say, bring 4 of your children to come and stay in my house. Who does that? Who are they expect to come and give me money? Who are they expect to feed the children for me? And I come on YouTube and begin to beg people, Mona, give me money or to feed my children. I have 3 children, I've not been able to feed them. You can't fund your budget. You can't pay your workers. You want to spend 40 billion on a stadium that doesn't have a club attached to it, that doesn't have a league. The entire Nigerian league does not produce up to 100 million in a year. And you want to fund a budget for a stadium that at most Super Eagles, let's say Super Eagles even play all their matches here, the Falcons play all their matches. At most in a year, you won't get more than 7 games. Is that how a stadium will produce money? How much do Nigerians pay to go watch matches in stadiums? That's another thing. Nigeria is the most difficult place to go watch the national team in a stadium. You have experienced it in Abuja. Yeah. To go into a stadium to watch a match is like going through the eye of the camera going through the eye of the needle. So what are we really discussing here? It makes no sense. I think that the ministers whatever his ideas and positions are concerning the matter is last minute, the Nigerian last minute opportunity to put your hand in the cookie jar and grab as much as you can grab, because this is an exit ticket, and then you take that money and then you allocate contract to your friend, so that if you don't get another appointment, you still remain relevant, you still control some narrative. I mean, because you're going to give contract to people who can give you kickback and all that. But hey, let's watch and see. I hope they can prove me wrong, so it doesn't be like I'm just in the studio ranting. What do I know? I don't know anything. I'm just talking shit, and then they come and use that 40 billion to do national stadium. And I do.
Another thing that got me from what he said also for the first time, this is a quote. He said for the first time in history, sports got a spot in the national development plan. This has never happened before. And 80 billion naira was approved for sports, while 60 billion naira was approved for youth development. And he said this will be funded jointly by the public and private sector. So basically, it's called for more private sector support.
So the question now in this is that is it trying to take that 40 billion? If they give sports development, let's even talk from a reasonable point of view. Sports has never gotten money, and all of a sudden there's 80 billion to access, right?
Yeah.
Now this 80 billion that is there to access, would you rather build a national stadium, or you would rather build the what the French people have, what they call the Clairefontaine Football Academy that produce Thierry Henry, Tracy Gale, Nicolas Anelka, N'Golo Kante, Blaise Matuidi, Kylian Mbappe, a structure that picks kids from the age of 8, 12 to 14 and develop them into the world superstars that they are. They become GDP grower. They become global brand that will bring in more money. If you sign if Real Madrid sign Mbappe today, money goes into Paris St-Germain. Paris St-Germain spends the money. They pay tax to the government. They spend the money within the economy and grow the system. But if you build a stadium with 40 billion, let's even say, okay, half of that money you put it in one stadium. What happened to athletics? What happened to swimming? What happened to wrestling across Nigeria? And you're going to take half of the money that has never been allocated before for the very first time and put it in Lagos. There are freaking 36 states plus the Federal Capital Territory in Nigeria, and we run a system that is supposed to consider every part of the country. How many talents do you, in the last 10 years, can you beat your chest and say Lagos have produced? Victor Osimhen. After that one, who else? Nobody. Absolutely nobody, right? And you want to put 40 billion in Lagos. The only one state that doesn't have proper football clubs in this state. You want to put 40 billion there in a national stadium that would still struggle with the Abuja stadium. How many stadiums does a country needs to have? Like the country is managing a stadium. How many do they need to have? What is the history of our stadiums bringing return on investment? Why not build a purpose-built facility that is geared towards, 40 billion, we're going to put 20 billion to create a dome for wrestling, or to create a dome for athletics, high performance training, like the one we have in Port Harcourt that I don't know whether it's working. High performance training facility that would help nurture and groom talent to the level where they can compete with the very best in the world. That's one. Or let's create a national academy where we bring players from the ages of 12 or 8 from all geopolitical zones, and we find a way to sustain it through public and private sector funding, because you will feed these players, you will train them, you will academically groom them as well, you nurture them like La Masia, you have like the Clairefontaine, the one you have in the Netherlands, the one you have in Italy, the Cadena Ser one, the one you have in Belgium as well, that produce all of these players like Eden Hazard, Tonga Hazard, Kevin De Bruyne, Lukaku, Axel Witsel, Ventogen, and the rest of them. Would it not pay us better if we do that and then export the talent rather than say we want to build a state? I don't even know what the purpose is. Not like we are guaranteed that we're going to play the World Cup finals. Not that we are guaranteed that when we build a stadium, we must qualify for the World Cup. We will still build the stadium. I will not know how to water grass, how to nurture the grass of the stadium. Players will still come and still train in darkness and use their torchlight, the torchlight on their phone to train. I saw that in Abuja. This is not a conversation. And that's not the first time it's happening. It's happened many times. NFL will still give stadium manager 1 million naira and he will refuse to on the jet. Because in his office, he is powerful. He is a god because he's not answerable to the NFF people. He's answerable to the minister, and the minister is not giving him directive. All of those things. We will see how the kind of frustration that somebody like Amaju faced when he was the NFF president. What are we really saying here? Are we serious people? There is no way this conversation will come up when I will support it. I might be wrong, but I'd rather be wrong on my own than support this. First off, they've not shown me any country where they have multiple stadiums being managed by the federal government. We talk on one front that we don't want government. Government is not supposed to be putting hand in sports. It's not their business to do sports. Now we want to spend 40 billion of money that we don't have. Tomorrow morning we hear that the president is asking the Senate to approve so that we'll go and take loan. One day we'll take loan. When we wake up, they don't use crane, lift Nigeria, come out. They go drop us on one island, Chinese island, our aeroplane.
So finally on this matter, so we should channel the money somewhere else. What do we do to that edifice? What do we do to that venue? What's the way forward? If we channel the money somewhere else, then what happens to the National Stadium in Sulu? What happens to that structure and everything?
If a company have agreed before that they seen something in it, let's not make foolishness about this conversation. Nigerian sports is a very, very viable sports that can generate money. It's a $5 billion industry. So it's not like it's a wasteland. It's not a wasteland. It's a $5 billion industry. But how you do it really matter. It is, you know how they say it's not what you say, but the way you said it. Or it's not what you did, but how you did it. How we're going about it is what is wrong. We are claiming on one hand that government does not have money. We want to leave subsidy. We want people to start buying fuel at 700 naira per liter. Gradually, we've gone. The same country where they protested for 87 naira per liter, we are buying fuel at, some people are buying at 300 naira per liter outside of Lagos as I talk to you. I buy at 210 naira, right? Just next year in this Lagos. So if you're complaining on one hand that you don't have the money to do all of this, and you want to spend 40 billion of taxpayers' money on a non-productive stadium, that's a crime. That's a sin. That somebody should be jailed for that. But now you ask me what I want them to do for the stadium. My take on the stadium is go back to the people who offered to do business with you and maybe retweak the deal to favor Nigeria. Put Nigeria in the context of the conversation. The thing that killed that contract before, let me tell you something. There are people in government who actually want the national stadium demolished and turned into real estate. But because of how deep I'm into this thing, let me just blank their names out. There are people who have been governors of states before who are now in position of power high up in Abuja, want the national stadium Abuja to be broken down and turned into real estate. That's one. The families that owns the land believe that some of the paperwork were not properly done. They want their land back. That's another, like we had with the National Theatre. That's another conversation. Lagos State says they have Folarin Balogun. They don't even need the stadium. It's their land. They want their land back. So there is also all those lobby group that is there here and there and all of that. Yeah, there and everywhere, like in the sun. But I still think that is a project that will guarantee between 35 to 45,000 jobs and put over 2 billion pounds into our economy is a more viable one than the one that will cost us to spend 40. And when there's never been a time when Nigerian government put up a budget for something and then we actually spend exactly that. So if we start the project when the minister came in, he said he needed 400 million and everything will be done. From 400 million, got the 400 million. We didn't do anything. We now went to 21 billion. From 21 billion 3 years ago, now we are at 40 billion. What's the guarantee that if the minister starts this project, like you even give him the 40 billion now, we will not walk halfway and they tell you the way they stole cable now, that they stole something, they've stolen the whole stadium itself. Quantum physics have shrink the stadium, put it in the pocket, and it has disappeared. And now we want to start the project again, and it is now 500 billion. Like the light train project. Remember when the light train project started about 15 years ago, it was XYZ amount. The money we have spent for the light train project, as much as it is a good project, is the same money it will cost to run a train from Lagos around the whole of Nigeria. But hey, let's just manage it from here to Okokomaiko, and we're good. We'll spend the money that will stretch the length of Nigeria on that short distance. But we're okay. So far we see train. We don't see train before. We never see train. Meanwhile, you go to Dubai, you see train where nobody they drive. All you hear is Alabua Union Station. You come out. You Alabua, this one, you come out. That's all you hear. And you don't know the pilot. No, you just, that's how advanced they are. Nobody talk about this. So if we really want to grow, we should be talking about things that will put money in the economy, not things that will take money that we don't have out of the economy. I don't support it. I might be the only voice shouting in the opposite direction. But I rather, on this one, I think I know enough, more than enough people who will be on Twitter insulting me and shouting. And I would stand on that ground and say, the minister is wrong here. And again, let me ask, why is he interested in doing this now when his their government tenure is weeks away from running up?
Maybe he feels he'll get another time to run the office and all that. But that's that. We'll wrap it on this conversation. But Chidi, he said, I'm really loving, on one of my WhatsApp platforms, said, I'm really loving the conversations, and Elevator is so on point. But for me, I would love us to channel that money to building other stadiums that we already had in place, like the Abuja Stadium and the Uyo Stadium. So what Chidi is practically saying is just channel that money to developing the Abuja Stadium.
To correct you a bit, the federal government cannot fund Uyo Stadium. Uyo Stadium is owned by the Akwa Ibom State government, so it's their responsibility to fix their stadium. Again, that's another stadium that is not bringing return on investment. That's another stadium that is capital waste of money, but this is a topic for another day. The Abuja Stadium, see, until we get sense, a single individual spent $5.7 billion to build the Sophie Stadium in Las Vegas. His name is Stan Kroenke, the owner of Arsenal, Vancouver, the ice hockey team, and 7 other sporting franchises. It's a single individual. So when we talk, and that stadium is part of the stadium that America, because we talk, we want to host the AFCON, where we should be said, shut up. All the stadium America is going to use to host the next World Cup, none of them is built by American government. So we should not sit here and be that sense of foolishness where they talk for our brain when our village people don't blow that native pot of smoke. Hey, but we want to. What is the game? We've hosted AFCON twice. That's why for us. We've hosted it in 1980. We won it. We hosted it in 2000. We didn't win it. But what is the economic returns? When South Africa hosted the World Cup in 2010, we are still seeing the benefit today. What is the benefit that came out of us hosting the Nations Cup twice? Must we host? Let's go outside and win. We don't need to host. Brazil hosted the World Cup twice. They didn't win it. One, they were massacred at home. But all the World Cup that Brazil have won, they won it outside Brazil. And they are the most World Cup winners. So there is no big deal in us hosting it. England claim to be owners of football. They've only hosted the World Cup once in 1966. After that, they don't host again. The next one, they never win for the bid. So but their football good. Their league, they produce billions every year. So we should focusing on building a viral football league, a developmental system. We are not even an emerging economy. We are not. We are an underdeveloped country. We are not an emerging economy where we stand up and say, we want to do this, we want to do that. Some people have gone to Qatar and come back and their head don't turn it to say they want to spend money. Now let's just do this and do some stuff here. No. Let's encourage people like Sporting Lagos to build their own facility. Coalition Ahmed to expand a Remo facility. What's it called? Ikorodu City to build a stadium in Ikorodu. And other states like that, Vandreza to build their own stadium. Let's create incentive for them to be able to do that rather than say federal government. Like the thought of 40 billion to build a stadium, they piss me off. Like who does that? We shouldn't even think about it. So if we want to do anything, like we really want to do something, rip up the grass in Abuja and relay a grass. Don't plant it like they plant corn, because that's what happened with the Abuja Stadium. They plant grass with hand for grass when they want to play football in this modern age. And when I talk that time, Amokasi, they insult me. Everybody they talk say I get Babele for. I don't get Babele for the minister. We have not won any proper game in that stadium since they finished. In short, which game would I win? Under 23 team play there, they not qualify.
Behind closed the ball, it was a tough
I beg. That 2-1 game where we robbed Sierra Leone. I beg. Let's talk about that.
All right, moving on the show. Chidi, yes, I hope you had that take from the 11 to 1 of sports. On our final talking point on the show.
Can you believe that Victor Sima is actually watching us live?
Victor, my regards to you, and yeah.
No, because when the players come, feed, come play badly, we will blame them. You the one spend 40 billion for Lagos Stadium, and you not going to do Abuja Stadium for them, make the day comfortable. You will not bring them to Lagos, you put them in a hotel, they will take 1 hour traffic to get to. First off, that one, we never even talk of that one. No. The next thing I will say they do sex tape for Lagos. Let's leave the Lagos National Stadium.
Final talking point on the show as time is really running out, but we need to talk about this. It was trending on Twitter the past couple of days. It was, let's take it back to the CAF Women's Award in 2019.
Why do you want to go back? Why are you all resurrecting them?
I just want to talk about this. It was
bad chance.
So many back and forth and all that. 2019, Azza Oshola won that CAF Women's Player of the Year, and she tied Perpetual Okocha, winning it 4 times and all that.
Since then she's past her.
Yeah, she's past her. And a couple of Nigerian media persons didn't vote for her. And I think
all the Nigerians on the panel didn't vote for her. It used to be a couple. All the Nigerian people no vote for her. Yeah. Ahmed Yusuf Fresh, Osaso Bayuana, Chisom Mbonu, and Perpetual Okocha. Not be a couple. You make her look like some people vote for her.
You know why? Osasu was the one that really felt the attack on Twitter in the last couple of days.
Because now they attack people past.
Yeah, and not to forget, Oshola, I think Oshola blocked him on Twitter.
I would do the same. If I be Oshola, I'll do the same.
But let's look at it from that.
I'm the shift blocker, you know me now. I block my own family.
I saw that video you sent in the family group. But looking at who most of like Chisom and Osasu, who they picked as the number 1, Tabitha, the Maleman footballer. Another good footballer. She did so well. She played in China with Oshola.
Yeah,
scored quite a number of goals.
Yeah,
and all that. But do you think these Nigerian media people were wrong in their choices to vote Oshola, or was it because this is voting? They might come out and say preference, or they voted for who they felt was better than Oshola at that period. But would you want to attack them for not voting Oshola, who is a Nigerian? Of course, she was deserving of the award in 2019. You can as well say the Malayan footballer as well, Tabitha as well, was deserving.
I agree.
And all that. But why, going at people for their choices, they pick Chilwell as their best player and all that. So that's the angle I'm trying to.
Let me give you the reason why people go at them.
For Perpetua, for putting her 5th, putting Oshola, I think I can as well say that's not fair from Perpetua and Kocha and all that. But for others who put
Emmanuel, you talk too much. Let me give you the reason why everybody had a go, and I also had a go at all of them. And remember, these people are all my friends. Osasu is a guy that I love, fantastic guy, crazy like me. Chisom Mbonu is like my sister. We worked on a project together in Anambra. I love the woman, right? And she's great at what she does on TV. She's one of the bright lights. So I'm not going to sit here and shit on her. Perpetual Kocha served this nation meritoriously. But you see, the thing about it is once you do your work in public, you open yourself to criticism, analysis, and everything. So let's analyze their voting. Perpetua voted as her 5th. Now, let's say Tabitha was hot favorite. But I do know
the top 3.
Hold on. And you didn't put what's it called? Asisa Oshola in number 2. That's a problem. So because you're telling me now that there is 2, 3, 4 that are better, 1, 2, 3, 4 players that are better in 2019 than Asisa Oshola, you get wish. If you not get wish, you buy Lania Kovun. That's one. Then I think it was Chisom that voted at 3rd. Yeah. And also voted at 3rd. So my question is, what are you people really trying to say? The one chance, because these same guys, you will see them on social media blaming politicians for not carrying national interests at heart, not carrying the interests of the people at heart. This is one time where you are put in a position, in pedestal, to represent your people. Because if you tell me that it's your choice of voting, that's a lie. Ahmed Yusuf Fresh did not even vote for anybody. And he's a board member of the NFF. The NFF that Asisa Oshola played football for, that because of her performance, you get sponsors and branding and all that. If there's anybody that would champion voting for Asisa Oshola, was Ahmed Yusuf Fresh. I can say Chisom Mbonu doesn't work for the Nigerian Football Federation, so she can make a choice. But if you're going to take Tabitha, make Asisa 2nd, because those were the 2 hottest African players. There was no other 3rd person in the race, okay? But you put her in 3rd. So who's your 2nd? How did your 2nd come? Nigeria systematically sabotaged their own. Exactly what we blame the politicians of doing was what all of them did on that very day. So I'm not going to sit here and agree with anybody's position of saying, oh, they have the right to their voting. And then I came out to explain. Osasu was the one who first explained. And for me, that was the day I lost it with Osasu. Like, okay, I used to respect this guy, I used to love this guy. I mean, I like his no hold back personality. I love it because that's who I am too. I'm not the kind of guy who, because I know you, then you can't do rubbish. I can't do. No, I'll take it back on you when I need to. But when you now start explaining that we should go and check the stats and the record, but the stats and record is like this argument of Benzema and Lionel Messi for the Ballon d'Or. Like, people are crazy. Lionel Messi on all fronts dwarfs Benzema in the period of talking goals and assists put together. Lionel Messi dwarfs him, and then he wins the Champions League. Lionel Messi wins the World Cup. Since when has the Champions League become bigger than the World Cup? But hey, people want to argue on sentimental point. We put you there. And first off, let every representative on the panel who has somebody from their country nominated vote all their nominees number one. That's how it is done. You don't go there. People get fired for actually voting against their own. Alaba got into trouble for voting Benzema in third position at Real Madrid. Since then, he had not just said he play ball for Real Madrid again because he did that. Alaba, as a captain of his own country, and this one, he didn't go there as Madrid captain. He went there as Austria captain. And I guess the FA, he must have consulted with his people and they told him this is who you vote for. But Madrid not take him lightly with him. That's how it is, because your teammate is here, you should vote for him. That's the way it works. It is the politics of voting. When you not go there, it's called national representation. When you not go there and you don't represent your country very well, that's a sabotage. That's complete espionage. That's real serious destruction of your own country in public. And then the person did not win. And then you still come out how they have country. After you not support them, you not give them your vote. You can't come and they want to explain. Who you explain for? Who you want to tell? Even the player, their country, everybody vote for her there. But see, the rest of Africa still say, nah, Sisat go win. So their explanation does not work. For Perpetua, she doesn't want somebody to catch up with her. It's a Nigerian, it's the black man thing. I want to be the one Superman in the midst of all the lazy people. So everybody fall down and pay obeisance and worship me. I understand. What does the media people have? Probably she did not grant them interview when they needed it, because that's what we do. I mean, in the industry. That's what we do. Somebody does not grant you interview, does not take your call, oh, become a personal non grata. We will deal with him. We will make sure we ruin his career. I've seen that. I was in Abuja just recently, and I saw journalists, what's it called? The CSO, the Chief Security Officer of the Super Eagles, had a problem with a journalist who was a former assistant coach of the under-17 and who is a Swan chairman or so. I've forgotten his name. And he was ranting. Next thing, I will bring down Gusso. I'll bring down Gusso. Who the hell are you to bring down Gusso? But that's the way it is. So it's the Nigerian media. Well, that's why I always say that we have poor people mentality. And when I say people like, oh, do you have money? No, I don't. But I don't have poor people mentality. We have poor people mentality. We don't know how to build our, and that's why we're suffering. That's why people use us the way they use us. That's why they talk to us the way they talk to us. They treat Nigerian sport journalists like they are charlatans, they're useless. World Cup will come, MasterCard will go and pick Tuchel. I'm not beefing her. I love her work. And Ebuka to run a World Cup campaign. These guys don't know how many players make a football team, but they are the ones that they will use. And then you start the whole year, you shout for 4 years, you are disposed this, you are disposed that. When the time comes for major global championship, you can't even get a sponsor, a brand to say, okay, let's sponsor you, go to the World Cup and wear our t-shirt and represent us, because you guys are not organized, because you guys are shitting on yourself every single day. So that vote for me was I was angry. I was angry, like, you don't do this to your own. Even if you're not in good terms with us. I was like, well, I was very pissed when I saw the write-up from the NFF on Oparanozie during the Aisha Buhari tournament. And I'm not going to hold back. I called Ademola Nigeria. I told him my piece. Good enough. He understood. He took it down, but I was pissed. I'm not happy with that still today. She doesn't have to be your friend. She's your country person, right? She doesn't have to be nice to you. Assistant does not need to lick your ass. If they put you to go and vote for Messi, you know Messi. He know you. You're not going to vote for him. So why would you not vote for your own countryman? And that's when you want to become objective. Well done. No.
All right. For those of you who don't know, Assistant Shola went on to win that award. I mean, other members of the African committee went on to vote for her. And she tied Perpetua Unkocha. I mean, she has actually surpassed her. She's won the award 5 times. Her latest was in 2022. And
it doesn't look like she'll win it again.
Exactly. I was about to say that. So, I mean, there's no stopping Assistant Shola. she's just legend. She's legendary. I mean, what else can she do? I mean, she's scoring goals.
She doesn't have any point to prove to anybody.
God, I mean, as I'm sure that you would forever live in the history of women's football in Africa, and of course in Nigeria. Well, with that is a wrap on the show today. It's been a wonderful time on the show. Don't forget the Niger Players GBS show coming up next. There's a new manager for Wilfred and Didi and Kelechi and Leicester City. We hope that sparks a turnaround for the cities. Keep it locked. Niger Players GBS show coming up next.